So yeah, good evening, students. So welcome to the last PYQ analysis session. Today we'll discuss the modern history PYQs. Okay. So first we'll see the trend analysis, how the themes they are giving. So what are the important themes you have to focus, especially when you are reading and revising the modern history. And starting from, yeah, we can see here. So Gandhian era, and if I have taken the how many samples here? 2015 to 2025 questions, almost 11-year questions. When I have analyzed these 11-year questions, the highest number of the questions are from the Gandhian era and Gandhian mass movements, which means so most of the questions, nearly 30 to 40 questions, are mostly concentrated in how many years of history? Gandhian era. How many years of history? Roughly, yeah, 30, yeah, 32 years of history. Okay, clear, right? So next important topic is constitutional developments and acts. So the constitutional developments, the Charter Acts, Government of India Acts. So this is the next major important topic, important theme. And the next important theme was social, educational, and labor reforms. So the first three, the important topics are important themes, means Gandhian era and its reform movements. Next, constitutional developments, the constitutional developments and acts. And third, social, educational, and labor reforms. So especially when you are revising the modern history, so you have to give special focus, especially on this era. Okay, Gandhian era, and also the constitutional developments, and also the social, educational, and these reforms. And next important topic was personalities and organizations. Okay, and the next important was economic policy and commercialization. This is important topic. And the early expansion and war policies, modern cultural achievements, post. So these are like miscellaneous, but majority of the questions are from these three areas. What are these three areas? Gandhian era and the mass movements of Gandhian era, and constitutional. Yeah. So what are the important topics will come in the constitutional developments? Charter Acts, Council Acts, Government of India Acts, including the Woods Dispatch, Macaulay Minutes. Okay, is there any sub acts? Not just these main acts, but also is there any sub acts also? So those are also part of the constitutional developments, right? Yes. So next, social and educational and labor reform. So these are the important themes. So next questions, we'll directly start with the questions. First, we'll start with the Gandhian era and mass movements. Okay. So the last year question. Consider the following subjects with regard to non-cooperation program. Okay. So what is the answer? So consider the following subjects with regard to non-cooperation program. So when non-cooperation movement started? 1920. Okay. So just remember, boycott of law, courts, and foreign cloth is part of the non-cooperation movement. Yes. Observance of strict non-violence. Retention of titles, honors without using them in public. Yes. Retention means keeping with us. No, right? So that's what. Should be very careful with the word. Retention means what? Keeping with us. Retaining means keeping with us. Yeah. So retaining meant, so it is giving opposite. So should be careful. Third one is wrong. Establishment of panchayats for settling the disputes. So third is wrong. How many statements are correct? Only 3 are correct. Next, consider the following statements in respect to the non-cooperation movement. Just from non-cooperation movement, so they are given at most like 3 to 4 questions in one single exam, in one single part. So in 2025, they have given just from non-cooperation movement, there are 3 questions. Nearly 3 to 4 questions they have given. So next, consider the following statements in respect of the non-cooperation movement. This is also 2025 question only. So the Congress declared the attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be its objective. Is it right? Then what is right? Congress declared the attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be its objective. It's right, right? Yes, it's right. Don't confuse with the Purna Swaraj. When was the Purna Swaraj declaration happened? 1929. Which session? Lahore session, right? So don't get confused. Okay. So, but what about this session? This attainment of Swaraj declaration. So 1929 Purna Swaraj declaration, everyone will remember. So what about this 1920 Swaraj declaration? Nagpur session, 1920 Nagpur session. Okay. So it was to be implemented in stages with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes. For the next stage, only if Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to repression. Okay, what does the statement is telling? The statement is, so civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes. For the next stage, only if the Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to repression. So it is telling that, so non-payment of taxes. So if Gandhi is very new leader of that time, right? 1920, Gandhi is very new leader. So he is not easily trustable by people initially. So if he suddenly comes and tells don't pay taxes to the government, so will the people easily, they will follow? No. So slowly he is making them to listening or following him. So what he is telling that within 1 year, if we don't get Swaraj, then we'll go for the not paying taxes and all. So that is what the statement. Okay, read the statement carefully, then you have to answer. So this is what the Gandhi has said. So 1 and 2 are correct answer. Okay. Next, sedition. Sedition has become my religion was the famous statement given by Gandhiji at the time of what? Civil disobedience movement. Sure. So what is the answer? Violating salt law or Dandi. So what does it mean? Sedition has become my religion. Sedition means what? What is the Sedition Act? Rajadikkarana. Sedition means Rajadikkarana. Means Rajyam cheppindi, Rajyaniki vyatirekanga cheyatam. So Sedition Act 124A. Sedition Act, right? So 124A. So what he said, if government is doing unjust to the people, so as a strong nationalist, so this will be means not following or agreeing to the government will be my religion. So that is what the statement, very powerful statement he has given, right? So sedition has become my religion. Okay. So this was given publicly violating the salt law at Dandi. So what is the journal he used to maintain? He has some journals, right? Oh, and Young India, Harijan. Yeah. So fifth question, very important question. Who provided the legal defense to people arrested in the aftermath of Chauri Chaura incident? Madan Mohan Malviya and Krishnakant Malviya. So these two are very important. So Madan Mohan Malviya and Krishnakant Malviya, they have provided the defense, means they advocated about the people. Nearly more than 225 people were arrested. 225 people, around 175 people They have given the death sentence. In that month, so they fought and they made release nearly 150 people. They got acquitted. So they almost saved 150 lives. Madan Mohan Malviya and Krishnakant Malviya. So very important. Next. Subsequent to which one of the following events, Gandhiji, who consistently opposed untouchability and appealed for its eradication from all spheres, decided to include the upliftment of Harijans in his political and social program? Should tell the story, not just the answer. So what the question is telling, subsequent of which one of the following events, Gandhiji, who consistently opposed untouchability and appealed for its eradication from all spheres, decided including the upliftment of Harijans in his political and social program? When? Pune Pact. He gave one famous slogan, if untouchability leaves, Hinduism dies. If you remember, if untouchability lives, so Hinduism dies. So one of the very popular, famous statement, it was given by Gandhi during the time of Pune Pact. So what happened means, what are the background of the Pune Pact? It is between Ambedkar and Gandhi. Why? Communal award. So it is, so British government has given the communal award for Dalits, right? Which was not liked by Gandhi. So they have given the communal awards for Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, and now they are separating the Dalits also. So which has seen, Gandhi has seen this is a classical division among the people, especially for the people who belongs to the same religion. So he strongly opposed this move and he went to the fast unto death, Nirahara Diksha, in Eravada jail in Pune. And later Ambedkar came and they made a pact that instead of giving a separate electorate for Dalits, in the unified electorate, they will give double the amount of seats. They have, so that is the promise, that is the pact they have made. But later, Ambedkar, he got very much upset. Yeah, he realized that I should not have done that kind of pact with Gandhi. Okay, so that is what happened. Next, with reference to the 8th August 1942 in the Indian history, which one of the following statements is correct? Very important, very easy also. What is the answer? A. The Quit India resolution was adopted by All India Congress. So why 8th August 1942? Because that is the time everyone thinks that English will lose in the World War II. Because Japan already occupied Singapore and it almost reached the Burma. So next will be India. So all the national people, the national leaders, they got very much confidence that British will lose. So they are not ready to listen to British. So that's why Gandhi has given one slogan, right? So this Cripps mission. So it's like a drawing a check on a crashing bank. So that is what it has given. So, but the answer for this is the Quit India resolution was adopted by the AICC. Okay, very, very important that question. Okay, so next question. Okay. So who among the following is associated with Songs from Prison, a translation of ancient India religious lyrics in English? Yeah. Why? Why Gandhi? He was in Eravada jail. Eravada jail. in that Erwada jail. So he started to write, translate these what? Ancient Indian texts into English. He want to show that so Indian culture or Indian roots are more in the spirituality, not just in the politics itself. So he started to translate and write some songs also. So this is what? Songs from Prison by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Next, the Gandhi-Irwin Pact included which of the following? The Gandhi-Irwin Pact included which of the following? Invitation to Congress to participate in the Roundtable Conference? Yes. So withdrawal of ordinance promulgated in the connection with the civil disobedience movement? What? It's their second statement. Withdrawal of ordinance promulgated in connection with the civil disobedience movement. It's there in the pact or not? In the pact or not? That is the demand from the Indian side and Gandhi side. But if that was added into the pact, what will happen? So British government itself like agree that we are doing some mistake. So they didn't add that. It was a demand, but not added. Okay? Withdrawal of ordinances was not added. So if simple, in a classical way, your police are doing wrong, then government also agrees that, okay, my police are doing wrong, so I will take the blame, means what will happen? Directly itself agreeing that it itself doing the wrong towards the people. So that's why they didn't add. Acceptance of Gandhiji's suggestion for inquiry into police excesses? No? Is it right? So withdrawal of order, no. So acceptance of Gandhiji's suggestion, inquiry into this is definitely not added, because it itself means accept. If they have added that, they themselves accepted, right? So next, fourth one, release of only those prisoners who are not charged with violence. Is it there? Release of only those prisoners who are not charged with violence. Rajguru, Sukhdev, Bhagat Singh. They are charged with violence. So that's why Gandhiji faced so much backlash. Once this pact was finished, he didn't ask for the prisoners, even who are charged with violence. So this is wrong. This is right. So even 2 is wrong. So 2 is also right. I think third, acceptance of Gandhiji's suggestions for inquiry into police excesses was not added. So 1, 3, 4 are the 1, 2, and 4 are right answers. So next, very easy, All India Untouchability League. Mahatma Gandhi, right? After the civil disobedience movement, especially he has taken some break from politics. Getting independence means what he said. Getting independence means not just getting independence from the British, even getting independence from our social and economic inequalities. So he left the national movement for some time and he actively went a tour throughout the India. Okay, especially to fight the rights for Harijans. Okay. So All India Untouchability League was established by Mahatma Gandhi. Next, All India Kisan Sabha. Is it right? Yeah. Huh? Swami Sahajananda. Swami Sahajananda Saraswati. And so 2 days back, yesterday also, I think. In yesterday's also, yeah, Pucharpalli Sundaraya, Sahajananda Saraswati, and Acharya N.G. Ranga. So they form this All India Kisan Sabha. Okay. Self-respect movement. E.V. Ramaswamy Naik. Oh, sorry. Okay. So all the 3 are correct. Next, with reference to the British colonial rule in India, consider the following statement. Mahatma Gandhi was instrumental in the abolition the system of indentured labor. Indentured labor? Yes. Yes. 1917. So finally, the British abolished that indentured labor system. What does it mean, the indentured labor system? So that is true. Second statement. In Lord Chelmsford War Conference, Mahatma Gandhi did not support the resolution on recruiting Indians for World War. Is it right? Third, consequent upon the breaking of Salta by Indian people, the Indian National Congress was declared illegal by the colonial rulers. The third statement, right. Second statement, actually Mahatma Gandhi did support it, not he did support it. Why he supported? He's very optimistic. Like he thought, if we support the British in the First World War, in return they will give some freedom or like kind of a dominion status at least. But what happened after that? After he supported, what happened? Rowlatt Act and also Jallianwala Bagh. So he has heartbreak. So now then that's why he started the non-cooperation movement. So the second statement is wrong. So he supported, he even went to the Gujarat and he actively asked the youth to join in the war. So 1 and 3 are correct. 1 and 3 are correct. Okay. So next, which one of the following is very significant aspect of Champaran Satyagraha? What? Which of the following is very significant aspect of Champaran Satyagraha? Champaran Satyagraha is Mahatma Gandhi's first Satyagraha. About against what? Teen Katya. What is Teen Katya? 3/20 part. The farmers must cultivate the indigo. Okay. So here, so what is the significant aspect which connects to the national movement? So joining the peasant unrest to India's national movement. What he has done, so he started with the peasant movement and he connected that peasant movement to the national movement. Okay, so that is what the important aspect of this Champaran Satyagraha. So constitutional developments, okay, second part. So which of the following acts was the Governor General of the Bengal designated as the Governor General of India? Very easy, right? What is the 1833 Act? So what are the other important major?
Allocation of 10 lakhs in education.
So monopoly over China's trade and tea was finished for East India Company. Yeah. Next, the Government of India Act 1919, also called 1919 Montego-Chelmsford Montego-Chelmsford Act or reforms. So in the Government of India Act 1919, the functions of provincial government were divided into reserved and transferred subject. Which of the following were treated as the reserved subjects? Administration of justice, reserved in the reserved subjects. Administration of justice is reserved. Yes. Local self-government? No, transferred. Land revenue? Reserved. Police? Reserved. Yeah. So 1, 3 and 4. Option C. Next. With reference to proposals of Cripps mission, consider the following statements. So what is the answer? The Constituent Assembly would have members nominated by provincial assemblies as well as princely states. Is it right? Nominated by princely state elected by provincial assemblies. So not all nominations. So first statement is wrong. So any province which is not prepared to accept the new constitution would have the right to sign a separate agreement with Britain regarding the future status. Is it right? Yeah, very clear. So only two. So next, the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919 recommended granting voting rights to all the women above the age of 21. You know? So what they have done? They have left that. No, they have left that obligation of the caution to the provincial assemblies. Provincial assemblies. Which means they want to test the local Indian people, especially local Indian men, whether they will give voting rights to their women or not. So yeah, they have given. Which is the first province to give to award the rights for women? Madras. Madras province. They have given the first time. They have given the rights, voting rights for women. Only not for like universal adult suffrage. Like they didn't give for every woman above 21, but only some women which they are tied to their education, social status, and the industries. Yeah. So the first statement is wrong. The Government of India Act of 1935 gave women reserved seats in legislation. Yes. Two only. So next, in the context of Indian history, the Rakmabai case of 1884 revolved around what? Women rights to gain education is there? No. So what is that Rakmabai case? Child marriage, yeah. So she got married at the age of 11. So but she didn't went to her home, marital home. Like she didn't went to her atta's home. Okay. So what happened? She studied and she became like one of the first doctors of India. Okay. And after when she became adult, her husband, he filed a case in the court that I want her back. So that is what the restitution of conjugal rights. So initially the courts supported her, then again the courts supported her husband. But what she said, like she gave one famous slogan: I'm ready to go to jail, but not to his home. Yeah. Then later she wrote one letter to Empress Queen Victoria, and she made some kind of agreement between both, and finally her husband got compensated and they finished the marriage. So that case is mostly about these two: age of consent and restitution of conjugal rights. So the 2 and 3 is anywhere it's not related to women's right to gain education. Okay. So next, 1813. Consider the following statements about the Charter Act of 1813. It ended the trade monopoly of East India Company in India, except for the trade in tea and trade with China. Is it right? Even this was ended in 1833. Right? Yes. It asserted the sovereignty of British Crown over the Indian territories held by companies. Yes. The revenues of India were now controlled by the British Parliament? No. This is only happened officially after 1858. After the, yeah. So 3 was not there. 1 and 2 is the answer. So next, in the federation established by the Government of India Act of 1935, residuary powers were given to the Governor General. How about now, at present? Who has the restitutory powers? Union. Yeah. Which of the following led to the introduction of English education in India? Charter Act of 1813? Huh? Yes. General Committee of Public Instruction 1823? Yes. Orientalist and Anglicist controversy. Is it right? Yes. So what is this Orientalist and Anglicist controversy? Yeah. There are some Britishers strongly supported that Indians should have the education in their Oriental languages. And some English, they supported, no, they should have the education under English language. So that is the classical difference between the Orientalist and Anglicist. But finally, who won? Finally, who won? Yeah, finally English won, because even they compared that, they said that whole Indian's knowledge, the knowledge resource what the Indian have is not even equal to the one shelf in a English library. So that's how they compared. So the answer for this is 1, 2, and 3. Regarding the Woods Dispatch, which of the following statements are true? So what the Woods Dispatch deals? So what is its timeline? 1854. 1854. Okay. Grants in aid system was introduced. Yes. Establishment of universities was recommended. English as a medium of instruction at all levels of education was recommended. Not all level, right? Primary education is in the vernacular languages and the higher education is in the English language. So 1 and 2 is the answer. So the Trade Disputes Act of 1929 provided for the participation of workers in the management of industries. So simple, a system of tribunals and a ban on strikes. So they don't want the workers to strike. So that is what the Trade Disputes Act 1929 was provided. Recently also there is one strikes in NCR region. Have you read in the paper? Very important. Recently, the workers striked in the NCR region. NCR region means Delhi, National Capital Region. So why they striked? They strike for minimum basic wage of 20,000 rupees. Yeah, you should be aware. So minimum basic, which means they are getting the salary much less than 20,000 rupees and they are living in the National Capital Region. Which means they have to support whatever the money they are getting in the 16,000, 15,000, they have to support their family, their children's education, their health. So they're asking 20,000 is very basic, right? As per the present living conditions or the cost. So they are asked for the 20,000 rupees. So what the government has done? So instead of negotiating with them, they have taken that as a law and order problem. And they completely banned the groupings. Okay. So the workers' right, it's almost, it has to increase and improve. So this is the answer. Okay. Next, consider the following statement. Consider the following statements. The Factories Act 1881 was passed with a view of fix the wages of industrial workers and to allow the workers to form trade unions. Is it right? No. They didn't allow the workers to form trade unions. Okay? Yeah. N.M. Lokhande was a pioneer in organizing the labor movement in British India. This is the only right. So they didn't allow them to form the trade unions. What will happen if they form the trade unions? They will demand. Even the present government also, like they almost combined, there are 29 labor laws into 4 labor codes recently. 4 labor codes. And those 4 labor codes, these workers, they argue that it was more employer friendly, not employee friendly. Means who are doing the business, it is more friendly to them. So India wants more investments. So that's why they are sacrificing the labor rights and securities. So they should have fine balance. So the object of the Butler Committee, 1927. What? What is the Butler Committee? Because during that time, these princely states, they got feared that India will get the independence. And the princely states, they don't want the Indian head. So that's why they express their all concerns to the Britishers. And the Britishers sent the Butler. So one of the important official of the British, they sent the Butler and they formed this Butler Committee. So to improve the relation between the government of India and Indian states. Here Indian states means princely states. Okay. So D is the answer. So Montagu Chelmsford reforms. Proposals were related to what? Constitutional reforms. Very easy. You see, modern history questions are not that difficult, right? Already you have solved like 30-40 questions right now. It looks like modern history questions are not that difficult if you read. Okay, if you read, yeah. So next, the Government of India Act 1919 clearly defined the separation of powers between the judiciary and the legislature, and the jurisdiction of central and provincial government, and the power of the Secretary of State for India and the Viceroy, none of the above. So what? B. What is that establishment or that mechanism is called? The jurisdiction of central and provincial governments. Yeah. Bicameral legislature. And also the ARK also introduced the same time, right? So the ARK introduced in the provincial in the 1919. In 1935, sorry, the ARK they introduced in 1919. Is it true? Yes. 1935 by bicameralism at central. Diarchy 1919. In 1935. They want to bring it to the center, but they didn't implement it in the center. Okay. So remember that one. Okay. Next. So next, social, education and labor reform movements. With reference to Swadeshi movement, consider the following statements. So why the Swadeshi movement has come? What is the background? Kurjans, Bengal, division. So division of Bengal by Lord Curzon. What is the year? 1905. Yes. So it contributed to the revival of indigenous artisan crafts and industries. Is it right? Because that is what the Swadeshi means, right? Promoting the indigenous or Swadeshi goods. Next, the National Council of Education was established as a part of Swadeshi movement. Both are very important. Okay, next. Consider the following. The first democratically elected Communist Party government in India formed in a state in India where? Kerala. So what is the timeline? 1957. Next, India's then largest bank, Imperial Bank of India, was renamed State Bank of India. When it happened? 1955. Yeah, 1955. Air India was nationalized and became the national carrier. When? 1953. was between the State Bank of India. The Goa became a part of independent India when? 1961. With what operation? What is the name of that operation? Operation Vijay. It's not for Kargil. Is it not for Kargil? Yeah, Kargil also Operation Vijay, and also for the reunification of Goa also Operation Vijay. There are two Operation Vijay. Now, what is the correct answer? 3, 2, 1, 4. Okay, 3, 2, 1, 4. Next, personalities, yeah, biographies. So, who among the following was the founder of Malt? Again, it came same question. So now it was a direct question. You see a lot of repeated themes. So modern history looks on the paper, like you see, looks very difficult, but when you see the questions, it is every question is interconnected. Like there are a lot of repeated themes. You see even that self-respect movement. I think we already, it's also repeated theme. And you can see 1919 Act, 1935 Act, how many times it is getting repeated. Just now we are at almost we finished 7-8 questions from last 10 years from the same topic. 1919 Act, 1935 Act, and 1909 Act. These three acts, very, very important. Okay? So go through at least the depth of these acts. It is the top 10 important points of every of these acts. Okay? Next, who among the following is the founder of self-respect movement? Periyar, Ramaswamy Nayakar. So with reference to Indian history, this Alexander Ria, A.H. Longhurst, Robert Sewell, James, archaeological excavations. Okay. So it's repeated, right? Last. Consider the following freedom fighters. So Barindra Kumar Ghosh, Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, Ras Bihari Bose. Who was the actively associated with Gadar? Very easy. Ras Bihari Bose. Ras Bihari Bose, right? Barindra Kumar Ghosh. What? No, they are not part of the Gadar party. These Ras Bihari Bose, what he did after he left to Japan. He started the Indian National Army. He started the Indian National Army, right? But this Ras Bihari Bose is the one who went to India Independent League. No, he is the one who went to Japan, and he is the one who started Indian National Army. He joined in the Indian National Army. Then later, Subhash Chandra Bose, he has taken the charge. Okay. Next. So very classical question. Francis Xavier was one of the founding member of Jesuit order. What is this Jesuit order? Evangelism. It's a kind of a sect. Jesuits. It's a Portugal. In the Portugal, this is very famous. So in the Goa, if you go to the, so there is one church, right? Saint Xavier's Basilica. It's also UNESCO World Heritage Site also. One of the important places. So Francis Xavier was one of the founding members of the Jesuit order. These Loyola colleges, you know, right? Loyola colleges. Loyola College, Loyola schools, Loyola colleges. They're all called Jesuits. So Francis Xavier died in Goa and a church is dedicated to him there. No. So he died in China. Okay, second statement is wrong. So the feast of Saint Xavier is celebrated in Goa each year. That is true. So 1 and 3 is correct. So in the context of colonial India, Shah Nawaz Khan, Prem Kumar Sehgal and Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon are remembered as. Very important question. They are the officers of the Indian National Army, INA. Officers of the Indian National Army. Wellesley established the Fort William College, Calcutta, because of what? Should directly tell these kind of questions. To train the civil servants. So he wanted to train the British civilians for the administrative purposes in India. So that is the answer. Direct question. So next, with reference to the history of India. Huh? So most of the questions looks very easy, right? So with reference to the history of India, Ulgulan and or the Great Tumult is a description of which are the following events? Birsa Munda's revolt. So Vittal Vidvanshak. Vittal Vidvanshak, the first monthly journal to have untouchable people as its target audience, was published by Gopal Baba Palankar. Very important. So with reference to the Indian national movement, consider the following. Sir Tej Bahadur Sapru. Is he president of All India Liberal Federation? Yes. Yes. K.C. Niyogi, member of the Constituent Assembly. And P.C. Joshi, General Secretary, Communist Party, General Secretary. All three are very important. 1, 2, and 3. Who among the following events happened the earliest? Now this is little difficult question. Which among the following events happened earliest? Neel Darpan. What is the timeline? 1858. And what about the Swami Dayananda established Arya Samaj? What is its timeline? 1875. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee Chattopadhyaya wrote Anandamath. 1860, I think, 63 or something. Sachendranath Tagore becomes the first Indian to succeed the Indian civil services. 1869, yes. Next. So what is the answer? Dinabandhu Mitra wrote Neel Darpan. So which among the following? Who among the following wrote were the founders of Hindu Mazdoor Sabha? Huh? 1853? No. Sachendranath Tagore became the first Indian to succeed in 1853. 1856 they have started, right? So that is right only around 1869. He is the first Indian. Okay. So next, who among the following were the founders of Hindu Mazdoor Sabha? Ashok Mehta, yeah. Ashok Mehta, T.S. Ramanujan and G.G. Mehta. These are the founders of Hindu Mazdoor Sabha. So who wrote, this is very important question. Who wrote the biographies of Mazni, Garbaldi and Shivaji Sri Krishna? Who is that? Mazni, Garbaldi? Italian fathers, like unification of Italy's father. Joseph Mazni, Garbaldi and Shivaji Sri Krishna stayed in America for some time and also elected the Central Assembly. He was, who he was? Not Motilal Nehru. Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai. When he died? Lala Lajpat Rai? 27. Why he died? Yeah, he is participating in the protest to Simon go back, and he died in 1928, I think. 1928. Okay, as a result, what happened? Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, yeah, they have, yeah, Lahore conspiracy case. Next, who among the following was associated with the introduction of Rayatwari settlement in India during the British rule? Very important question. Alexander Reed and Thomas Munro. And Lord Cornwallis? Permanent settlement or Jamindari? Permanent. So what is the answer? 2 and 3. So among the three systems, which one has the more spread? Means it has a more spread in India. Rayatwari or Mahalwari or Jamindari? Rayatwari. Around 58% was mostly Rayatwaris. Okay. Next. Consider the following. Radhakant Deb, first president of British Indian Association. So some these kind of things are very much bouncers. Only you should know that particular personality belongs to that organization or not. If you only know, then you have to attempt. If you don't know, better skip these kind of questions. So Radhakant Deb, first president of British Indian Association. Is it right? No. Gazul Lakshmi Narasimha Chetty, founder of the Madras Mahajana Sabha. No, he was the Madras Native Association. Madras Native Association. Surendranath Banerjee, founder of the Indian Association. Yes. So I think Radhakant Deb, first president of British. Just check this one once. Okay. I think the first and third is right answer. Gazul Lakshmi Narasimha Chetty, definitely he is the founder of Madras Native Association. Even if you read the regional history, like APPSC, TGPSC, the second point is very important. Gazul Lakshmi Narasimha Chetty. Yeah. Madras Native Association. So who are the following origin they marched on the Tanjavur coast to break the salt law? Very important. Rajagopala, C. Chakravartula Rajagopalachari. Okay. And he also had made one formula, CR formula. What is that? CR formula in 1945. What is that? What? To deadlock the Muslim League and Congress. So what he said in the Chakravartula Rajagopala CR formula, he said first Muslim League and Indian National Congress, they work together, and if everything goes fine, so this Muslim League will very soon will get the independence. Next will work for independence. So both will work together for the Indian independence. So once we got the Indian independence, then we'll plan for the separate nation for Muslims. So that is what the Chakravartula Rajagopalachari formula. But many people, they rejected this formula as it is advocating for the separate or the two nation theory. Okay. So next, consider the following statements. The first woman president of Indian National Congress. Who is she? Annie Besant. So not the Sarojini Naidu. Sarojini Naidu and Mahatma Gandhi. They both have one common title. Nightingale of India is not for Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi is not that great singer. Okay. Kaiser-e-Hind. Kaiser-e-Hind. So that is the title, same like Bharat Ratna. Previously, Gandhi gave it back, but Gandhi gave it back, even she also gave it back. Kaiser-e-Hind. Like this is the title which they used to give for the people who used to do enormous service to the Indian people during the British time. Like how we have the Bharat Ratna now. That is very important award, Kaiser-i-Hind, which is awarded by British government. So that's why they gave that title. Like Mahatma Gandhi, he gave up that title during the time of 1920. Okay. So the first Muslim president of Indian National Congress was Badruddin Tabji. Yeah. Very. Next. Who among the following was associated with as a secretary with Hindu female school, which later became the known as Bitun Female School? Very important, very easy also. Among them, who worked for the women education? Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He is the one who fight for the women's education, right? So he is the one associated as a secretary to the Hindu female school, which later became the Bitun. Next, with reference to Madanapalle of Andhra Pradesh, which one of the following statements is correct? C or D? Rabindranath Tagore translated the national anthem from Bengali to Bengali to English here. Even the tune was given by some English, the principal's wife, right? I forgot her name, but yeah, she is also very important personality. With reference to the educational institutions during the colonial rule in India, consider the following dates. Sanskrit College at Banaras, not William Jones. Among these three, only this is correct. Because Fort William College, we know. Why the Fort William College? What is the importance for the Fort William College? For the training the British civil servants in India. Yes. So Calcutta Madrasa was Warren Hastings. This is the only right answer. This Fort will not Arthur Wellesley. His name was not Arthur. Lordship is very common. Whoever have the Governor General, they have the lordship. That is not Arthur. His name is Robert Wellesley or something, but not the Arthur Wellesley. So the answer was only 2 here. So colonial economic policy and early expansion. With reference to the revenue collection by Cornwallis, consider the following. So what is the answer? Under the Rohitwari settlement of revenue collection, the peasants were exempted from revenue payment in case of bad harvests or natural calamities. Yes, means English were not that good or that kind people to India. So even at the time of natural calamities like famine, drought, still they have to pay their tax. Under the permanent settlement in Bengal, if the zamindari failed to pay his revenues to the state on or before the fixed date, he would be removed from his zamindari. Is it right? So what is that law? There is one law, sunset law, very important. Yeah, sunset law. Sunset law means before sunset, he has to pay. If he doesn't pay, it will be auctioned. Okay? So that because of that, many money lenders, they became the new zamindars. Why? Yeah, they have money and they have given the lot of money to the people. The sunset law. So what is the answer? 2 only. So next, the 7th August is declared as a National Handloom Day. Is it right? Yes. It was 1905 that Swadeshi movement was launched on the same day. That is the reason why. So why 1905? Bengal, division of Bengal. So in the first quarter of 17th century, In which of the following was the factories of English East India Company? What is the answer? There are 3 locations it was given. So they are asking that what is the first quarter of 17th century, means what is the timeline? 1625. That is the first quarter. From 1625, around that area, like plus or minus 1625. That is the first quarter of 17th century. What about Trichinopol? So that is also in the east, right? As you said. Trichinopoli is also in the east. And Broch. What about the Broch? Broch is in Gujarat. So the answer will be is Broch. Broch. Not this Chikakol is where? Srikakulam. Chikakol. Okay. Next, indigo cultivation in India declined by beginning of the 20th century because of what? Only 3 options are there. Peasant resistance to the oppressive conduct like the Champaran Satyagraha. Its unprofitability in the world market because of the new invention. National leaders' opposition to cultivation of indigo. What is the correct answer? What about others? What about others? So in Germany, they introduced new synthetic dyes has came. The Germany has invented new synthetic dyes. Because of that, the importance of natural indigo has declined throughout the world. At the same time, our national movements like Champaran Satyagraha, these are also started. So what the British thought, anyway, they are also fighting. So let's cut it down. Yeah. So it helped the national leaders. If they strongly want the indigo, then they would have not accepted our national leaders. Okay. So the answer is its unprofitability in the world market because of the new invention. The B is the correct answer. Next, which of the following statements correctly explains the impact of the Industrial Revolution on India during the first half of the 19th century, first half of 1850s, first half of the 19th century? Indian handicrafts are ruined, machines were introduced. Machines were introduced in the Indian textile industry in large numbers. No, right? Railway lines were laid in many parts of the country. No. Heavy duties were imposed on the British imports of British manufacturers. Definitely no. A. Handicrafts were ruined. Because we also discussed, like, you see, even there are a lot of machine-made goods are coming from England for a cheaper price. Still, Indians are buying the handmade goods. So that is the main problem during the time of British rule, early British rule. So when the English government when they asked why the Indians are not buying the machine-made goods from England, so they said, like, obviously the Indian-made handmade goods are more quality and more rich in color and texture. So what they have done, they have imposed a lot of taxes. And slowly the Indian handloom industry was declined. Okay. And it got revived only at the time of 1905. From that time, the Swadeshi movement has started, right? Yeah. So what happened during the time when they destroyed the handloom industry in early 1850s, early 1840s or something? So what happened? So we have 2 important revenue makers. One is agriculture, and other one was handicrafts. So if the handicrafts was collapsed, then what will happen to this workforce? They all will turn to agriculture. Agriculture is already stressed. So the more employment, so more people are available, but only less work. What happens? Huh? Yeah, disguised unemployment. But as a result, the famines came because only the limited food was there, but people are so many mouths to feed. So that is what our Britishers has done to India. So with reference to the book Deshar Kada, written by Sankram Ganesh Doskar during the freedom struggle. This is also kind of a bouncer questions. It's better to leave these kind of questions when if you don't read. It warned against the colonial state hypnotic. It warned against the colonial state's hypnotic conquest of the mind. Yes. It inspired the performance of Swadeshi street plays and folk songs. Yes. The use of Desh by Desukar was the specific context of the region of Bengal. No. This is for whole of India, not just for confined to Bengal. Only 1 and 2 are correct. Next, in 1920, which of the following changed its name to Swarajya Sabha? Obviously, Home Rule League. All India Home Rule League. Swarajya Home Rule. Same, right? So next. So the staple commodities of export by the English East India Company from Bengal. What is the answer? Sure. A, raw cotton, oil seeds and opium. What about D? Why not D? Cotton, silk, saltpeter and what? Opium. What is saltpeter? Gunpowder. It's an important potassium nitrate. So what are the uses of this potassium nitrate? Explosive materials. It's an oxidizer. And what is about the other uses of potassium nitrate? What are the important fertilizers of India? What are the important fertilizers we use in India? Urea. In the urea, what we have? Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So you can also use this one as a fertilizer, saltpeter. Okay. You should have that basic idea. What are the important fertilizers we use in India? Okay. DAP means what? Urea means what? So which of the following statements does not apply to the system of subsidiary alliance introduced by Lord Wellesley? Does not apply. To maintain a large standing army at others' expense, is it right? Yes. To keep India safe from the Napoleonic danger? Yes. To secure a fixed income for the company? No. To establish the British paramountcy over Indian states? Yes. Only the sea is less fit comparing to the other three. Okay. After the Santhal uprising subsided, what were the measures taken by the colonial governments? The territories called Santhal Parganas were created. Yes. It became illegal for Santhal to transfer land to non-Santhal. Yes. These two are the important after the uprising in which the British government has created. Both 1 and 2. So economically, one of the results of the British rule in India in the 19th century was what? Commercialization of Indian agriculture, because they are forcing to produce indigo and the cash plants, opium. Yeah. So commercialization of Indian agriculture. So in the context of Indian history, the principle of diarchy refers to What is the answer? Division of central legislature into houses? No, right? Introduction of double government, central and state government, that is? No. Having two sets of rulers, one in London, another one in Delhi. Division of subjects delegated to the provinces into two categories. So with reference to Indian freedom struggle, consider the following events. Mutiny in Royal Indian Navy. When it happened? 1946. Quit India movement? 42. Second round table conference? 31. So what are the chronological order? 3, 2, 1. The Swadeshi and the boycott were adopted as a methods of struggle for the first time during. Answer is there, right? Partition of, against the partition of Bengal. That is the first time, right? They used the Swadeshi and boycott. Yeah, against the partition of Bengal. When they used? 1905. And Home Rule movement? 1915, 1916, right? Yeah. Non-cooperation 1920. Visit of the Simon Commission 1927. Satya Sodak Samaj. What is that? Satya Sodak Samaj? Anti-caste movement in Maharashtra. Consider the following. Calcutta Unitarian Committee, Tabernacle of New Dispensation, Indian Reform Association. Keshav Chandra Sen is associated with the establishment of which of the above? First two. Calcutta Unitarian Committee and Tabernacle New Dispensation Committee. So that is, the option is also not there, right? But this is for sure. Tabernacle of New Dispensation. So just check once. You have the phone. ఒక్కసారి చూడండి. This is for sure an Indian Reform Association. 2 and Indian Reform Association. 2 and 3, right? So what was the main reason for the split in the Indian National Congress? Why they got split? What are the reasons? Introduction of communalism into Indian politics by Lord Minto, extreme lack of faith in capacity of the moderates to negotiate with the British governments, foundation of Muslim League, Aurobindo Ghosh inability to be elected as the president of Indian National Congress. What is the reason? 1907. What is that split is called? Surat split, right? So why they got split? Why they split? Yeah. Extremists lack the faith in the capacity of moderates to negotiate with British government. Very easy. Cripps mission. The plan for the Sir Stafford Cripps envisaged that after the Second World War was what? India should be given the dominion status. So will they accept it? No, right? With reference to the Rowlatt Satyagraha, which of the following statement is correct? The Rowlatt Act was based on the recommendation of Sedition Committee. Yes. The Rowlatt Satyagraha, Gandhiji tried to utilize the Home Rule League. Yes. Demonstration against the arrival of Simon Commission coincided with the Rowlatt Satyagraha. No. Huge gap is there, right? So when was the Rowlatt Satyagraha happened? 1919. And Simon Commission 1927. So there is huge gap. So no, that in 1 and 2. So which of the following were economic critics of colonial India? Dadabhai Nauroji? Yes. Subramanyam Iyer? Yes. R.C. Dutt? Yes. So 1 and 2, 3. So next, with reference to the Congress Socialist Party, consider the following statements. It advocated the boycott of British goods and evasion of taxes. So when it formed, Congress Socialist Party, what is the background?
Some people came out of INC and they
Yeah, after the non-cooperation movement, 1922 Choro Chowra incident, when the Gandhi suddenly stopped the movement. Some people who didn't like the Gandhi's decision, so they came out, like Chitranjan Das, C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru, they came out and they formed the Swaraj Party. So they advocated the boycott of British goods and evasion of taxes? No, they didn't do. It wanted to establish a dictatorship of proletariat? No. It advocated the separate electorate for minorities and oppressed classes? No. So they didn't. They mainly they focus on the political things. So political formation of government, not on these kind of things. So the answer is none. So with reference to the cabinet mission, which one of the following? Correct. When the cabinet mission came? 1946. So it recommended a federal government. Yes, it recommended a federal government like the A, B, C, 3 categories of the government. So in one category, Muslim dominated. In one category, Hindu dominated. In one category, Hindu Muslim dominated. So it advocated the weak central or strong central? Weak central with only 3 subjects: foreign, telecommunication and military. Only these 3 subjects are with the central government, which means it is advocating weak or strong. It is advocating the weak. So it recommended a federal government. Yes. It enlarged the power of Indian courts. It provided for more Indians in the ICS. No, it didn't advocate for the Indian courts. It provided for more. No, only one. Only one. Because that is like, if advocated for the Indian courts, what will happen? Federal will strengthen. Federal will strengthen. And they don't want the strong India as a picture. They want to have a country which is divided India in a country itself. So that's why they didn't do these kind of things. They didn't enlarge the power of Indian courts. And they didn't provide it for more Indians. Okay? Only one. They recommended for the federal government. Next. Which one of the following movements has contributed to split in the Indian National Congress, resulting in the emergence of moderates and extremists? So what is the answer? Because of the timeline you said it's Swadeshi movement. You should also tell why. So which one of the following movements has contributed to a split in India's National Congress, resulting in the emergence of moderates and extremists? Swadeshi movement, because Quit India 1922, non-cooperation, so yeah, 1942. This is 1920. These are all so far, right? So very easily you guessed. But why Swadeshi movement caused the conflict between moderates and extremists? So after the means during the Swadeshi movement, what are the important way of protesting? Banning the, boycotting the British schools and colleges. So that is the British boycotting British schools and colleges and officers was not, the decision was not in a good with the moderates. Moderates don't like that decision. Boycotting because they always want to pray, petition and protest. So they don't want to make the English very unhappy. So that's why that is one of the reasons why these both they fight it. So one person they want to make the Britishers very unhappy, and one other group they want to only make Britishers little bit unhappy. So that's created the rift between the moderates and extremists. So Swadeshi movement is one of the main important reasons. Okay. Yeah. These are the 11 years modern history questions. Yeah. So that's what I told, like we'll do all history at same day. But I thought again means someone advised that maybe modern history we have more number of questions, ancient in, but all together in a one single day it will be enough. Okay. Yeah. This is the 11 years questions, not just total 11 years. And you make sure to understand that most of the questions are coming from Gandhian movements, especially from the 1900 or at least 1885, starting of the Indian National Congress. So you should give more focus when you are reading. You should give more focus on the 1885 and more focus on the Gandhian movements. The time 1915 to Gandhian era will be there, right? 1915 to 1947. And also these constitutional laws, 1935 Act, 1919, 1909, these all. Okay, you'll get more number of questions from these two areas more. And social reform movements, personalities. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Session, we can ask them.